How do artists make money? Well, they have to make or do something that someone else is willing to pay them money for, right? But what does that mean to you? Hi, I'm Amy, and on this channel we're exploring how your creative gift has value. So I hope last week's video helped you identify who would be interested in your work, and this week we're going to talk about what it is that you should sell. By the end of this video, you'll be able to create a list of possible products and services that you could create that match with your particular skills, including some avenues you probably haven't thought of before, so stick with me. I'm here to build a community of creatives who can support and encourage and learn from each other. So if you're one of those people, I want to encourage you to subscribe and also hit that button for notifications. I'd like to ask you to participate with comments and likes and shares so that we can build a community of people who can really help each other. Artists are intuitive, but sometimes being a little more analytical is useful. So let's break this down and talk about it. You're going to make money by selling either products or services. And as makers, it's pretty easy for us to talk about products, and also from products to break that down further into original products and reproductions. So as we're breaking the category of products down into originals and reproductions, the originals are obviously things like a painting, a sculpture, a funky coffee table, a collage. Reproductions obviously are things like prints, but also there are certain types of fine art forms that lend themselves to being reproductions, like photography, printmaking, and certain kinds of metal sculpture casting like bronze, because those are things you can make over and over again. And since we're here on this channel to talk about making money, we want to look at anything that makes your art repeatable. So reproductions are things that are repeatable because you can sell those things over and over again after your initial investment of time in creating it. So while you can sell an original painting for more money, and I encourage you to do that, that's a great thing to do, we also want to look into how we can sell prints of that so that we can sell them over and over again and keep making money off that same original painting that you did. Now for the second big category, services. As makers, we probably don't spend as much time thinking about this category, but it does include things like design and graphics, murals, personalizing and calligraphy, and teaching. Today I want to propose that you try thinking about services in the same way that we think about products, both as originals and reproductions. So reproductions means you found a way to make that service repeatable, and therefore you can make money off of it over and over again. In the case of teaching, you can teach a class every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, or you can create an e-course and you can teach that class anytime, anywhere, to anyone around the world over and over and over again. In the case of calligraphy, you could get hired to individually hand letter every person's invitation to their wedding, but you could also create a product that has a beautifully lettered family values list or something and have it printed on a piece of wood. Then you can sell that over and over again after your initial time and work. So as you can see, what we're talking about when I talk about a repeatable or reproduction of a service ends up becoming a product. So that's packaging some kind of service that you do into a product that you can sell over and over again. So technically we're back to products, so products are things that you can sell. So now let's talk about that list I mentioned at the beginning of the video that you're going to make of things that you can do. I want you to first think about what you're really passionate about, what you think your skills are and your gifts are, anything creative that you love to do. And then I want you to work on making a list of every possible way you can imagine making money with that creative skill. Now what I want to challenge you to do is that you're going to put something on this list from each of the categories we talked about. So for products, original products, and reproductions. Services, original services, and repeatable or reproductions. Make sure that you've looked at every one of those categories and figured out some way, even if it's a stretch, that you could imagine making money with this skill that you have. And I want you to go through and just add everything from small ideas, selling at your little local church bazaar that costs $20 to get a booth, or your pie in the sky dream of like getting a licensing deal with some major retailer who's going to sell your stuff in thousands of stores or all over the world. Go from small to big, go all over the map, think of everything you can. You're creative, so you should be able to come up with a lot. So spend some time on this list. And let me give you an example. I just decided to do it with quilting. I'm not a quilter, so your list should be a lot longer than this one, but this is the one I just spitballed in just a few minutes, so I'm going to read it off real quickly just to kind of get you started. Say I'm a quilter. I can make quilts and sell them at craft fairs, online, to baby stores. I can get a booth at an antique mall or a mercantile. I can sell kits for certain designs of quilts. I can teach quilting live, or I can create an e-course to teach quilting. I can make art quilts and try to get them in shows in galleries. And I can start a business finishing people's quilt projects that they have sitting around the house that they haven't been able to finish. I could start a business creating custom quilts for people, like for special occasions like 25th anniversary or wedding. I could try to get a gig designing fabrics for quilts. I could sell prints, cards, calendars, anything else I can think of with images of my quilts or anything related to quilts on it. I could create custom gift items for businesses if I could come up with something that used my quilting skills to offer to certain businesses. I could license designs to like a bedding manufacturer and try to get sold in a big retailer. I could license designs even to something else like a rug company or a tile company who could use my kind of quilt designs in some other kind of medium. So those are just a few I'm starting with, and you should be starting to think like all over the map about any way that you could use these skills that you have. Okay, that's the first part of your assignment. The second part of your assignment is take another category, another creative area that you love and that you're interested in and you feel like you're good at, okay? And make another list like the first one. Most of us creatives, my theory is that we're creative in a bunch of different areas, and sometimes we even have trouble deciding like where to stick. We like to kind of bounce all over the place because we get bored easily and we want to do everything. So think about what's second for you and make a list the same way, like that. So, you know, if my second one was painting, then I'm gonna do the same list with everything I can think of for how I can make money with my painting. So once you've made your first list of all the ways you can think of monetizing your number one passion, and then you've made a second list of all the ways you can think of monetizing your second passion, then I want you to try and create a third list for bonus points of any way that you could combine those two things to create something new. And these may be some areas that you haven't thought about before, putting these things together. So in the case of quilting and painting, maybe it's creating a series of paintings of historical or antique quilt patterns, and then trying to sell those either to some kind of resort that has a lodgy feel, or trying to sell them to a company like Bernina for their national headquarters. They make sewing machines and they're very related to quilting. So those are the ones that are a little trickier, but if you keep working on it and try to make a list of any areas you can think of where those two things cross over, then you may be getting into some ideas that you hadn't had before. So do that homework this week. Keep adding to those lists and keep thinking creatively about every possible way you can to monetize the thing that you're good at and that you have a passion for. So we've talked about who might be interested in your work. We've talked about what you should be selling. And next week we're going to talk about how much to charge for those things and how we structure our pricing in order to make money both at retail and at wholesale pricing. Join me next week, and I hope, like I said, that you will subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you here next time. Thank you.